Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the Carbondale Police Department. On behalf of Chief Jeff Grubbs, I'm Randy Mathis, the Community Resource Officer, and we're here to do a virtual tour of the police department. Due to the COVID-19 preparations and response, we are not allowed to open the building to the public for tours at this time, so that's why we're going to create this video tour for you. We hope you enjoy. So let's go inside and check it out. All right, here we are at investigations. We're going to go inside and just take a quick look at what the investigators do here. Our investigation division is set up to where we have a lieutenant, 2 sergeants, and 8 detectives. That's at full staff, who are all working cases that are forwarded to them from patrol division. Also, investigators do respond to live, very serious calls and do the investigations from the start. So let's go on in and check out and see what's in there. Everybody's out on a call right now or doing their investigations, so normally what you would see is the actual investigators in their cubbies. The open design is to encourage interaction between the investigators, because a lot of times it's not just one detective working a case. Many times sometimes it's all the investigators working together, so this setup gives them an opportunity to share information back and forth easily, as opposed to having individual offices where it's really closed off and hard to get in touch with everyone. All right, so let's go check out our fitness center. So just like firefighting, the Carbondale Police Department also is a very physically demanding job, and it requires officers to be fit at all times. So this is just an example of our fitness center and some of the workout equipment that we have here to help our officers stay in shape. When it comes to equipment for the police department, there's a lot we have to carry with us. Unlike other jobs where you work out of an office, we have our office in our cars, and we have to have all our equipment with us. So that equipment has to go with us for when we go to different calls for service, and those equipment pieces are on our duty belts. So to start us off, we have some magazines which hold extra ammunition for our duty weapons. We have a key holder, because a lot of times we have a lot of keys that we have to carry with us. We have the taser, which is a neuromuscular interrupter device, and we have a little laser sight on it to help us see where we're pointed at. But when we activate the taser, it will actually deliver an electric shock. Again, that incapacitates the muscles to help us get a person who is fighting us under control. We have our collapsible baton. Okay. This would be used for if somebody is trying to hit us, strike us. We can use it to strike areas of the body, like the thigh, like the forearm, in case we have a situation where somebody is attacking us, to be able to protect us in those instances. We also have our radio. We have one in the squad cars too that's mounted to the vehicle. However, we always have a radio with us to be able to call out to communications or to other officers for information that we need, or if we need assistance. We do have our duty weapons that will not come out, that'll stay in here, but this is the weapon that we would carry on duty with us. And again, it's a tool, just like anything else on this belt. There's really no difference between this and any other item we have. This is our oleoresin capsicum, which is called pepper spray. It causes an involuntary swelling of the eyelids, which closes the eyes, which means that if somebody is fighting us and they can't see, it makes it harder for them to resist. And finally, we have handcuffs. So the handcuffs are used to not only protect us as police officers when we're dealing with people who are fighting or are under arrest, but also to protect the individual we have under arrest. Because if an individual is wanting to escape, flee, or fight, that actually adds to additional charges. If somebody knows that they can't get away, that's actually better for them as well. Here we are with one of the greatest aspects of our police department. For those of us who worked prior to 2011 and the opening of this building, this is called a sally port, and we'll go see why this is such a really cool area. So a sally port, you may ask why Sally? Well, sally port was an old term used for a secured entrance to a fortification. So this is what we have, is a secured entrance to our facility to when we have somebody under arrest. We will bring him in a climate-controlled, safe environment. One of the problems we had with the old police department was we'd pull up on a parking lot and have to walk anybody under arrest inside the building. Now, you can think of what the challenges might be on that is whenever it's cold out, it's wet out, it's icy out, that made a lot of challenges for us. Plus, there's also the opportunities that people could think, hey, you know what, I'm not in the building. If the officer's not watching me close enough, they could take off running. Here, we bring them into this facility. If they decide to escape, there's no place for them to go. Plus, again, it's climate controlled. We don't have to worry about slipping on the water, slipping on ice. It's just a really nice aspect of this new police department that we have. So let's go check out arrest processing. So anytime we go into arrest processing, we have to secure our duty weapons. So in order to do that and make sure we stay safe and our arrestee stays safe as well, what we'll do is we'll come over to these boxes and we'll secure our duty weapon inside. Because once I'm inside with an arrestee, I'm going to be doing a lot of close quarters work with them as far as processing them, fingerprinting them, and it's not going to be a very safe situation for me. So what we'll do is we will secure our duty weapons, again for our safety and theirs as well, before we go into this room. And let's go ahead and check that out. All right, so here we are in arrest processing, and this is a very secure room. Again, we bring prisoners in here who have been under arrest for any number of violations. What we'll do is we'll first take them over to this area right here, and you may notice that we have cameras that are in this building, several camera locations. We want to do things to where we can see what if everybody's being safe. So what we'll do is we'll bring them in here in view of the camera. We will take, if we haven't taken any of their property on them, we will take that in front of this camera and bag it up, and then we'll immediately move over to this bench and we will handcuff one of their wrists to this secure railing. So that way when we're in the rest of this area doing our processing, one thing you don't see on Life PD and cops is all the paperwork and the computer work that go into what typically do versus the realities of a lot of what we do is not very exciting stuff. So in this case, you don't get to see the officer in situations where they're typing information in a computer, doing the fingerprinting. But that's really a lot of what we do here at the police department. So what we'll do is we'll bring them in, set them there. We will usually station ourselves here at this computer where we enter all the information about our arrestee. We will then, when we get to that point in time to have them take a photograph, we'll unsecure them from the bench, bring them over to this board, and we have a camera just across from me where we will take their pictures, not only their face pictures, but their profile. If they have any distinguishing marks like tattoos, birthmarks, etc., we'll take pictures of those too, because that way we can help identify later on as well if we have a crime that occurs. We now have a description and a photographic display of that person to help us determine A, if that is a suspect, or also to help say, no, this isn't the suspect because this isn't the identification of what we're looking at. So again, it's not only for us helping find suspects, it's also for helping us eliminate people who we now don't have to follow up as possible suspects anymore, and that does save a lot of time. So a lot of times when we do tours here at the police department, I always get asked, where's your jail? Well, we don't really have a jail, so to speak. We do have what's called a temporary holding facility, so let's go check that out right now. So this is a temporary holding facility. This is the door for it. What we can do if we have somebody who's under arrest who is creating a situation where they're being violent towards the officers and we need a safe place to put them, if they need to use a bathroom facility, if they need to get a drink of water, or if we just have so many people under arrest at that time, not only for maybe one case, but maybe we've got several cases going on where we've got multiple people under arrest, we may run out of room in our interview rooms here, so we would put somebody back in here temporarily to keep them safe. But no, we don't actually house people at the Carbondale Police Department. If it's somebody who's going to be incarcerated or can't post their bond, then we would drive them over to the Jackson County Jail facility. So let's take a look at this and see what this looks like. This allows us to be able to see inside, because obviously with a strong, sturdy door like this, we don't want to just open the door without knowing what's on the other side. Again, it's not a very large space, but it's very secure. It does have a toilet facility and a drinking station as well. That's in case we quite often have somebody back here who needs to use a bathroom. And obviously sometimes our processing can take a while. We need to be able to allow them to do that and be able to be safe at the same time. So to get inside, we would open up the door. As you can see from inside, we do have a camera in here. However, the camera is separate from where, if they were using the toilet, they would not be under video, but otherwise they're going to be in sight of this camera. So that way we can also ask our dispatch center, who has the monitoring equipment in their dispatch center, to be able to see if, hey, is this person going to give us a problem on the other side of this door, and maybe we can't see them. Maybe we've opened up that window and maybe they're standing right here ready to attack us before we open that door. We can have our dispatcher tell us that, hey, everything's okay. But most cases, people are very compliant back here. They do what we ask them to do. Now, if we did have somebody who we were worried about that would give us a problem, what we would do is we wouldn't necessarily open the door without them having handcuffs on. We would be able to have them, or let's say we wanted to give them information without opening this door. We have this little door here to where we would open it up, and I could give them, I could pass information through to them, or I can ask them to step up to the door and have them put their hands behind their back through this opening. Then we can handcuff them out here from safety, and then we could open up the door. We like to do things to be very safe because we know in this job things can get pretty dangerous pretty quickly, and our goal is to make sure that we make it home to our families at the end of the day.
Hello, I'm Sgt Wilson with Carbondale Police Department. One of the many tasks that I do here at the police department, one of the ones I really enjoy for sure, is being a part of the special response team, which is kind of like SWAT team. A lot of you have heard about SWAT on TV and movies. We call it special response team, and basically we are kind of like those signs you see that say, in case of emergency, break glass, okay? We're those guys. If there's something bad going on and they need a team to handle the situation that has training, they train together with specialized tools and weapons and tactics, we're the ones that get that assignment. And it's dangerous, but it's also a lot of fun, and we just really enjoy being part of the team. You'll see the vehicle behind me. It's one of the vehicles that we have. This is our transport van, and we can actually haul several SRT officers in this van, going from here to wherever, whether it be for training, whether it be for doing a hostage rescue situation, etc. And a lot of what we do now, kind of a combination of things. If there's a high felony or high risk warrant that we need to serve, oftentimes we'll go to be used for that purpose. But also if there's a hostage barricade or a barricaded gunman in a building, we're the ones that will get called up to go handle that situation with the tactics and the training that we have. And so this is one of the vehicles that we take to go to those scenes. We don't just show up in our own vehicles. That way we get there as a team, we leave as a team. What you'll see, a couple things behind us, or behind me, is some tools. This one's called the Halligan, and it looks like some kind of medieval weapon, but it's not a weapon. It's actually a tool that's made out of metal that we use to open certain types of doors. We can also break out windows if needed with this thing. It's not a weapon that we use against people, but it's actually just to help make entry into a building. And then this tool right here, this one is called a ram, and the ram's got two handles on it. It's very heavy. It probably weighs about 30-35 pounds, and we basically, on a door out of a house, we would come in and swing into that door at like a pendulum, and that momentum and that force will help break open that door latch or that door lock, so that we can make entry into a house to rescue someone who may be in trouble or to serve a warrant. One of the things we use to protect ourselves from bad people, this is called a shield, and it's a bullet resistant shield. You can see this one's actually got two headlights on it. It's got a window just like a car, so you can actually see where you're walking while you're carrying it, and it will protect us from bullets if somebody were to try to shoot at us. So this is a very vital piece of equipment. We have several of these for our team. If you saw the fire department on their challenge when they did this, you saw them putting on their suit, their pants, their coat, their air tanks, their oxygen masks and all that. Their concern is protecting from fire and smoke. Our concern is protecting ourselves from bad people using weapons against us. We're still wanting to protect ourselves, but it's just a different sorts of a problem that we're dealing with, and it's a different sorts of protection that we wear. And one of the things that we wear that's very vital, so right now I've got my regular vest on under here, but then I will put this vest on top of this one, and this will help make me more bullet resistant. If somebody would actually shoot me and they hit the vest and so forth, it would help stop those bullets from hurting me. Okay, and you can see on mine, I've got a radio on the back with this as a microphone, just like if we were in a squad car or whatever, but we can talk on this mic to our team, to our dispatchers, etc. Then I've also got extra rifle mags. This is where I put my extra pistol mags. This is a tourniquet, so if I or another person on my team, or possibly even a bad guy, were severely wounded, if we need to put a tourniquet on it, all of us carry at least one, if not two or three on us at that time. We've also got a pair of scissors where if we're doing medical treatment, we got it right here so that we don't have to wait for the ambulance to show up to our scene. We can handle our stuff. Also got first aid kits on our vest, and we've got more tourniquets, bandages, another pair of trauma shears, etc. inside these bags. And we all carry the same stuff. I've got an extra little knife on here if that is needed for some reason. And then these are all connected, what they call hook and loop or Velcro. So it all kind of Velcros together. So I'll show you kind of how we put these on. And you'll see that it basically slides right over my head. Wraps around. And now it's set up to protect my heart, my lungs, all my vital organs through here. Plus I've got easy access if I need to change out magazines. I've got access to all my gear, access to my tourniquet, etc. What you'll also see is on my belt, Officer Mathis showed you in regular uniform what a uniform belt looks like, with his gun, his magazine, all that. Well, ours is very similar, although you see that mine is a different color to kind of match with our camouflage uniform. But we still got a pistol. We still got this one. I've also got another tourniquet. So with this gear here, I've got two tourniquets. Then over on this side, I've got some handcuffs. Then over here, I've got two rifle mags and two pistol mags, and then it's a regular pouch where we call it a dump pouch. So if I have extra things I need to just throw in there real quick, I can. Much like the firemen had a hat to protect themselves, their issue is more of in a burning building, something breaks through and falls and hits them on the head, that will protect them. Mine's actually bullet resistant, okay, in case someone shoots at me. I can actually, if I have this on, it hits the helmet, it should stop that. Now we just tuck it under our chin, kind of like a motorcycle helmet. Get that on there. And now we're ready to go. Now we're going to discuss our police cars. You'll notice they are marked. We call them marked squad car, one that's got different colors of paint. It's got the police logo, the city name. It's also got lights on top, the red and blues. Marked cars typically are going to have a light on the outside as well that we can control from the inside with a handle. Helps us look down alleyways, helps us look on rooftops, etc. So this is what a marked car would look like. If you ever hear the difference between marked and unmarked, this is what we would consider a marked car. If we take a look on the inside of our vehicle, you can see before I get in it, there is a computer that we have access to where all the police officers are on different calls. We can actually see where the fire department's at on their call, so we can go assist them if needed, and also a few other entities. That computer also, we can run people's driver's licenses, we can run license plates, and we can also write reports on this computer. So it's actually a very valuable tool that we incorporated several years ago, and it's been very beneficial. If you look a little deeper, I'll have a seat in the car. If you look up here, there's actually a video camera. Oftentimes they're called dash cams. This actually up here on the visor. And this actually records where we're going, what we're doing. And so as soon as we hit the record button, it actually has a loop on it. So it actually records about a minute before we activate it, either by pushing a button or if we turn on our overhead lights, it will activate that camera. And so if we're behind a drunk driver, for instance, and we see it swerving and we decide to pull it over, this camera was already recording the actions of that driver before we activated the camera. So it's always recording, but it only saves about a minute prior to us activating it. So it does catch somebody running a stoplight, somebody driving erratically, etc. So those are things that are good. Also, if we come up on fights on the street, it records that as we're approaching the scene. So it's very handy as well. Up here you'll see this is actually a combination. This is actually the radar, and then this is a monitor that shows what the speeds are of cars that are coming towards us. So you can see the digital lights popping up here. Okay, just passed its internal test. We saw the PASS, that's pass. All the lights worked, everything's functioning. Had it shown up with an error message, we would have to get that repaired. But right now it's showing that it's a workable instrument. So on the radar, we can actually turn it different directions. So if I'm sitting in a parking lot and I want to shoot down, let's say, East Main Street, I can turn it here to where it faces traffic, or I can face it straight ahead of me. And these units work if you're stationary, but also if you're driving down the road and someone's coming towards you, I can turn it to the moving option, and it will record the speed of the vehicle coming towards me. So it's a multi-purpose tool as well. Over here underneath the computer keyboard, this is what the actual police radio looks like. So if I wanted to talk to dispatch or to another officer, I would grab a hold of the microphone, push to talk button, and begin speaking on the microphone, and then I would let off, and then they would respond to me, and then when they were done, I could push the key button again and then send out my transmission to them back and forth. This is actually the radio unit, and you can change channels on it. And it's probably hard to see with the glare on the digital display, but it's got multiple channels. So I can talk to Carbondale Police Department, Jackson County Sheriff's Department, SIU, Fire Department, ambulance, etc. So I can change channels to talk to different entities. We may all be, if we're going to a big traffic crash, we may have ambulances and fire department and us and possibly another police department coming. So from one radio, I can contact all these different people. We can exchange information about the actual scene. And then what you see right below here with the lit up red lights, this is actually a combination unit. This one controls our lights, so the overhead lights, and then this one controls our siren. And so we've got different setting types, but on the way this one's built, the lights actually have to be on in order for you to hear the siren. I don't know if you can see the lights up there in the daylight or not. They're pretty bright if you look at them differently. Then you activate the siren too, it's going to get kind of loud. So we've got multiple siren options. Sometimes if we're coming up on an intersection, we will switch back and forth to get people's attention so they know that we're getting ready to come through the intersection so that they can stop, so that we can avoid any crashes with those other vehicles. Because the last thing we want to do on the way to a hot call is to crash into another vehicle. That takes us out of the game, that possibly injures those people, injures us, destroys the vehicles, and then we can't help the people that we were going to. So we're very diligent about trying to come to complete stops, about using proper lighting and sirens as we're going to what we would call a priority 2 or priority 1 call, like a traffic crash or a fight in progress, stuff like that. Obviously our passenger seat over here, sometimes we run 2 officers in a car, depending on the shift, depends on our manpower at the time. Usually we're single man vehicles, but sometimes we can carry a second person with us. And I'll show you the back seat real fast. The back seat is where our arrestees go. And you'll notice on the windows, we've got a metal covering here to protect the windows from being kicked out. Some of our prisoners, even though they're in handcuffs, they start kicking on our windows. I actually had a female arrestee one day kick the window as I was approaching the car, and it shattered in my face, and I got glass dust in my eyes. And so after that was kind of the thing. We need to protect our officers. So that actually instigated that process by where we have now protectors over the windows. If you look back here, we have our arrestee seats. This one's made for 2. Most of ours are 2-seaters. We do have one unit that has just 1 seat. This is a plexiglass back here, so that, you know, if they're trying to spit on us or whatever, they can't do that. This is all metal here. This is a plastic seat that's sealed down and bolted down so that they can't shove any contraband in the couch, or not couch, but the seat cushions. And it's easy to clean because it's one long solid piece of plastic rather than leather or vinyl seats like we used to have in the old type squad cars. These doors are have a locking mechanisms already activated, so they can't open these doors. They can pull on this all day long. This door will not open from the inside of the car. It can only open from the outside of the car. That just keeps them from escaping. It helps us to control them a little better on the way from the scene where we arrested them back to the Carbondale Police Department, or if we're taking them to jail. It just helps control them a little better so they're not trying to escape or fight with us while we're doing that. And so what we're looking at, when you're looking at a marked card, a lot of times you'll see a number on the front and on the back. That helps us signify which car it is, because they all look alike. So I don't jump into another officer's car, he doesn't jump into mine, we know what car we're going to. And a lot of our cars, this one does not have one, but a lot of our cars have AEDs. So if we respond to someone that's having a heart attack, usually one of our vehicles, if not 2 or 3, will show up and they'll actually have an AED inside the vehicle that we can start doing CPR and AED process on a heart attack patient before the ambulance or the fire department shows up. Because usually we can get to a call quicker because our vehicles are lighter, they're more mobile, and we're always patrolling throughout the town, so we're usually a very quick option for those kind of emergencies. We would like to extend this challenge. The fire department made the challenge to us. We'd like to extend it to the Jackson County Ambulance Service. Let them show everybody what they do. Let's see what kind of gear they've got, what kind of vehicles they got, what their processes are, and I'd like to see if they're up to the challenge. But right now, we got to get to work.